Yo, what is going on, everybody out there in the Facebook land? It is time to get rocking here. We are live at 11 with Coach Brett in the Weight Loss Success Club. Coach Brett Riesenhuber here. I am stoked to be here today. Let's see here. Today, as we're doing this, it is Tuesday. And it is January 18th right now. And I'm sharing that one because I know people will be watching this later on down the road, and that's all good. But over the weekend, 49ers won their first game in the playoffs. I'm a Niners fan, so hope you like that. We played the Cowboys. We whooped them. That was good. I liked it. It was actually a good game. It was a good game. I liked it. Anyway, today we are going to dig into the real truth about protein. Like, how much protein do you really need? Like, what is necessary? Our target here and everything that we're doing, everything we're working towards is cranking up the metabolism, right? And I can't tell you, I've been coaching people for, since 1991, 31 years. And I've always heard over and over and over and over again, my metabolism is slow. My metabolism is slow. That's why I'm not losing weight. I'm metabolic. My metabolism's slow. I'm metabolically challenged. And I'm here to tell you guys, as I've said before, it does not have to be like that. It does not have to be that way. You can have a cranking, ramped up metabolism just by taking the proper steps. And this is what I do with all my coaching clients, all my private coaching clients. We work to ramp up the metabolism and make it just absolutely amazing. And I'm gonna move my mic away a little bit. I think I'm a little too loud for it. That's me. The mic is a new thing, so I gotta make sure I'm doing it the right way. Anyway, so today we're gonna touch on protein. Now, protein is something that honestly, most people just kind of follow the leader, right? They go off and do what everybody else says, do what everybody else has been doing, right? I've done that, right? A lot of people get into these high protein, high fat, low carbohydrate to no carbohydrate diets. And what we want to talk about today is the implications and ramifications of doing those things. But really, we want to look at what's up with protein. And we will touch on carbs in there too, because if you're going to touch on protein nowadays, you've got to touch on carbs too, and everything makes a difference. So without further ado, Coach Brett here, I'm going to get over here. I'm going to get my screen going, and boom, boom, boom. I'm getting better at this stuff too, which is kind of cool. And we are rocking live on Facebook. So let's get in here and let's dig into some things about protein, how much protein you really need, what is protein, and all of that kind of fun stuff. So the truth about protein. So metabolic function, let's start there. Metabolic function is the rate at which our billions and billions and billions of cells produce energy, right? Energy like this, like me, right? Like I'm always full of energy, right? So that's what metabolic function is, producing energy. Now, the question becomes, is protein a fuel for energy, right? Fuel, energy. And the answer is not if you want efficient metabolic health and optimal cellular respiration. Under stress in the body, the protein will catabolize or break down other tissues and bodily functions so that it can be used as energy. 9 out of 10 people are in an elevated stressed state. Let me say that again. 9 out of 10 people are too stressed. And I don't just mean like, stress. I mean, like here, like your body is in a stressed state. And still, most nutrition coaching people, most coaches out there always educate everybody to increase their protein intake while decreasing carbohydrates. So they'll also, let me step back one on that. Coaches are going to educate to increase protein and decrease carbohydrates while increasing exercise. So the stressed state is now getting jacked up even more and more. And we're going to touch on this. We're going to really get into this here in a couple of minutes here. So let's talk about protein needs first off. Protein needs. All right, everywhere you look, everywhere you go, every health and fitness magazine, people are going on and on and on about the importance of protein. And everybody got to eat protein to build muscle and lose weight. It's like the key, right? That's what everybody says. It's the key. Now, the issue is 75% of the people are exceeding their daily protein requirements. And most are typically only getting protein from sources that actually further deteriorate thyroid, digestive function, metabolic function, cellular respiration, all that, which makes it more difficult for them to be healthy, to shed the fat that they're trying to shed, or to build the muscle that they're trying to build in order to increase their metabolism to burn more fat. So underlying factors relate to the fact that most people are unsure of how much protein they should really be getting in, and which foods are going to provide them with the best sources of protein. So here's the deal on protein in a nutshell. Eating too little protein, your liver function will be suffering. That's not good. We know that. Eating too much protein, it can inhibit function of the kidneys and the liver and digestive systems and the thyroid. Both of those slow down metabolic function and cellular respiration. We do not want to slow down metabolic function or cellular respiration. We want to crank them both up big time. All right. When liver function is impaired, toxins, things like estrogen, endotoxins, bacteria build up, all that kind of fun stuff. They're going to accumulate in the body, and they're going to suppress your metabolism and your thyroid function. They're going to suppress your metabolism and your thyroid function. All right. Your liver requires a certain amount of protein, just as it needs carbs for detoxification to happen. And it's essentially the primary role of your liver in keeping your hormone and digestive system operating correctly, properly, and efficiently. Now, the tissues, as we know, based on our metabolic discussions, creates an oxygen deficiency, which also causes cells to swell and to retain water. Right? Estrogen dominance, which is caused by either too much estrogen in the body, which is created by unused testosterone, that's for guys, or an imbalance of the estrogen relation to the protective progesterone for women. And effects include, but they're not going to be limited to, so there's a broad range of things that you're going to get: water retention, weight, fat increase, right? Weight gain, IBS, Crohn's, cancer, fatigue, mood swings, right? You crazy moods all over the place, right? Slow metabolism, PMS, ED, low libido, menopause symptoms, irritability, depression, anxiety, right? All the health items that we're always talking about come into play here. All right. So do you want to have a higher level metabolic function, cellular respiration, and overall health? Right? To do that, you do, right? You set yourself up not to underconsume protein, but more importantly, this is where people lose it all the time. More importantly, not overconsume protein. And I've been guilty of this like my whole life, right? Don't overconsume, but you can't underconsume. So protein, when consumed properly, will stimulate the thyroid function, which will produce more thyroid hormone. Higher levels of thyroid hormone, they're going to increase calorie utilization. You use more calories, right? As well as the rate of rebuilding body tissue. And this all is going to result in faster metabolism, which we want, a greater ability to build muscle, which we want, right? And the healthiest version of you, which you should want, right? We all want to be healthy. It's so important. So let's talk about what is protein, right? So we'll start off with stem cells, right? The body has stem cells throughout all the cells. And this indicates that the body is constantly rebuilding every cell and tissue. And as you know, you need carbohydrates to fuel the energy process, to take protein and use it for what it is meant for. And you know what that is? Rebuilding, right? Rebuilding, 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 right? However, that's why you also can't have too little and you can't have too much. Protein is one of the 3 macronutrients and the only one that contains all 9 essential amino acids, right? If you were to pull your body apart, it would simply be bones, water, fat, and protein, right? And out of all the components which you are made, protein is the most active nutrient, which means protein can play an enormous role in increasing metabolic rate, or it can either aid or destroy it. So we want to make sure that we got that balance right. It's also the raw material for all the repair work in your body. Your body's always breaking down, especially when you're working out, and then it repairs itself. It does that at sleep, and it does that with the proper levels of protein in a healthy state. Protein is the main building blocks of your body, right? Having the adequate building materials, the protein, right, it on hand allows for an efficient regenerative process. Again, sufficient amounts, not too little or excess. So how much protein does a person need? So general population protein needs, general population. So these are generalized numbers here we're going to talk about. All right, the absolute minimum for females is 90 grams a day. And for males, it's 110 grams a day. Optimal average daily consumption of protein for females is 95 to 120 grams a day. And for males, it's 115 to 140 grams. Now, let's break that down a bit more for people who are special snowflakes, who are more than the general population. So when we look at performance and functional and endurance athletes or activities, 5 to 6 hours per week, females are going to need between 110 and 120 grams of protein per day. Males are going to need 130 to 140 grams per day. Now, if we're looking at size and bodybuilding activities, where you're going still 5 to 6 hours per week. Did I say 5 to 6 hours per day on the other one? Sorry, it's per week. Females are going to need between 120 and 140 grams per day on average. Males are going to need 140 to 160 grams per day. Now, I go a bit deeper than this with my coaching clients, but this will give you, a solid start to work from. I know for me, my protein requirements are going to be higher because I'm bigger. And I'm training, 5 to 6 hours with strength, but I have more muscle mass. So my number is going to be a little bit higher, but this is going to give you the good general average. And it is something I found works with most people incredibly effectively and incredibly well. And we find that staying in those ranges is going to help keep protein consumption in that range, right? Which is what we want. We don't need to just absolutely target direct 100%. You can't do it. Right. So if we have a nice range, it also keeps us from pulling our hair out and going insane and increasing stress levels, because we don't need that. So staying in those ranges is going to keep protein consumption in the range of optimal metabolic function, cellular respiration, and not creating deficiencies or stress on the body, on its functions and systems. Again, keeping in mind that all cells in the body run on glucose, and glucose is their preferred energy source. Just to be clear on that, glucose equals carbohydrates. So therefore, eating enough carbohydrates is important, is fuel, because it is the fuel needed for the body to utilize the protein that we give it. Not eating enough carbohydrates is going to force the body to utilize protein for energy versus the building block that it should be for muscle building, recovery, and cell reproduction and restoration. So something that's always important to realize and to pay attention to with all these crazy diets out there, the diet of the week, the fad, here we go, is protein is not an efficient energy source. Let's talk about why. Cells have to use 3 times as much oxygen to create 60% less energy, or ATP, when the body is using protein as its energy source. Plus, doing this puts the body into a stressed state, which we keep talking about. We don't want that. It's not good for the body and does not create that healthy metabolism that we're searching for. So what are the best sources of protein? First off, the human body needs protein from animals, not vegetables. The human digestive tract secretes hydrochloric acid and protein digesting enzymes like pepsin. They easily break down the proteins like cheese, dairy, seafood, eggs, gelatin, meat, collagen, specifically muscle meat, what we're referring to here. The human body does not have the bacteria and enzymes to efficiently break down grass and most above ground leafy greens, vegetables, beans, or soy. These types of bacteria are only found in ruminant animals like cows, moo, right? They have special chambers called rumen, which convert grasses, plants, and leaves into protein. We don't have those. So proper and ideal sources of protein for human beings would be grass-fed meats, grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb, grass-fed pork, grass-fed range-free chicken, and liver, right? Now, not all of us want to consume liver. I sometimes sneak it into the meals that we do. In a long cooked stew, throw some liver in there, it's going to break down, it'll be in there. Or we can do capsules. I do some liver capsules every single day. Seafood is another great one, and the ideal versions of seafood would be ocean caught white fish, oysters, prawns, and shellfish. Eggs. When you're doing eggs, always opt for the free range eggs, preferably organic, not the caged eggs. All right. When the ideal would be straight from the farm, right? Fresh, straight from the farm, chickens that are out roaming around, eating worms and bugs and shit like that. Real chickens that are not being fed GMOs. Same on all these things. We don't want things that are being fed the genetically modified foods. We want the healthy versions that are eating what they're supposed to be eating. And once you go with eggs, I gotta tell you, if you haven't had fresh, organic, free range, non-GMO, non-grain fed chicken eggs, you are missing out. Because when you have one, you're like, oh my God, I've been missing this. The yolks are a different friggin' color. It's amazing. They are so good. So those are some great sources of protein. And here's some more. We want good, I call it great quality dairy. We want good, great quality milk. Also, still, organic is preferred. Range fed, grass fed is going to be the best for you. I've been working on getting into the grass fed milks for a long time. It's been a little bit of a challenge to taste, right? It's different. Right? But it's going to be the best for you. So you just work on it and slowly transition, and then it becomes normal. Cheese. Look for your cheeses that are simple, just like everything else. Not a shit ton of ingredients. We want simple. We want things with milk, salt, rennet, enzymes. That's it. Simple, real, organic when possible. Or imported cheeses like Parmesan, Greek feta, things like that. Yogurt, Greek or Icelandic yogurt that's been strained or contains contains only milk and cultures or cream and cultures. Collagen and gelatin, the hydrolyzed form of collagen and gelatin, the bomb addition to your food, easy to cook into all kinds of different recipes. Or you mix them up in orange juice, nice and simple. I put them in my coffee. So traditionally, the meat-eating cultures, they would consume the entire animal. All right, muscle meat, tendons, ligaments, cartilage, organs, bone marrow, meaning they would consume a nice blend of all the amino acids, gelatins, and collagen as well. Now, today, our society eats primarily muscle meat, which means we miss out on the glycine. Now, glycine is the main amino acid found in gelatin and collagen. It can prevent and heal digestive issues like leaky gut, IBS, Crohn's, arthritis, diabetes, tumors, and insomnia, just popping a few of them off. And the anti-inflammatory and aids in the stage 2 liver detoxification process is crazy. I mean, cutting down on the inflammation, that's awesome. We need that. Protein, when you add it to a highly stressed metabolism, let's talk about that. Under stress, increased amounts of the amino acid tryptophan are released into the blood. Now, way back when, for those of you who've been around like me, I remember back in, like this, 70s or 80s, they were talking about tryptophan from turkey. And that's not all we're looking at here with tryptophan. In fact, turkey doesn't have really that much about it. People freaking out about the wrong things because it got spurred into conversation. Under stress, sorry about tryptophan. Under stress, tryptophan converts into the stress hormone serotonin. Serotonin then signals the pituitary to release ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, which stimulates cortisol, stress hormone number 1, right? It should have its own sign, right? Like wanted, not wanted, not wanted, cortisol. Excess tryptophan triggers a greater stress response. It lowers the metabolism, decreases the cellular respiration, and increases all the inflammatory markers. So protein, it takes a lot of energy to break down, and therefore rates higher level stress on the body to process. And when this is happening, the amino acids cysteine and methionine, I hate pronouncing these things. Methionine, I don't care how to say it, increase in the blood. We know what we're talking about at least, all right? These amino acids are going to inhibit the enzyme thyroid peroxidase, TPO, and that, if you've been in any of my 6-week challenge presentations where we've gone over nutrition, we talk about the ratio of T3 to T4. Well, TPO is needed for the T4 to T3 conversion. All right, so really important thing there. Therefore, an excess of protein triggers an inflammatory response from the amino acids, which then suppresses thyroid conversion, and then it decreases metabolic function and cellular respiration. It's a trickling effect. Everything works synergistically, and sometimes it works synergistically for the best, sometimes not so much. This is not so much. So muscle meat, so like steak, chicken breast, chicken thigh, muscle meat, they're going to contain a high amount of phosphorus and virtually no calcium. So a high phosphorus to calcium diet is going to increase parathyroid hormone, PTH, pulling calcium from the bone to regulate calcium levels. So a high muscle meat diet can lead to bone breakdown. It can lead to the calcification of tissues, and worse, the pituitary gland. Really not good. So excessive amounts of ammonia can suppress cellular respiration too and stimulate glycolysis. Shifting the cell's energy production to glycolysis, that's going to decrease the energy production and CO2 and increase lactate. All right, cellular respiration going to slow, and then with increased ammonia production. All right, cellular respiration is going to slow with increased ammonia production, which will decrease oxygen to the muscles, to the organs, and to the other systems. So we know that that's not good for the body, because then the body's going to live in a stress state, and illness, disease, and death are going to occur, right? We don't want that. Optimizing protein for metabolic efficiency. When it comes to the cells producing energy, carbohydrates are king. I know we're talking about protein here, but carbohydrates are number 1. Yes, the body can use energy or protein as energy, right? It can use protein, but it comes at a really high cost. That cost is the slowing of the metabolism. So when your metabolism slows, who cares if you're doing your protein, right? And we want to make sure that we're optimizing the metabolism first and foremost, because the metabolism is health. All right. So when it comes at the high cost of slowing the metabolism, slowing the cellular respiration, and decreasing health. So let's jump in here about the best way to consume protein. All right. We want to consume within the proper metabolic ranges for proper metabolic function and cellular respiration. Consume a cup of bone broth, high quality, right? Organic. Most packaged bone broths leave a lot to be desired. If you ideally you will make your own from grass-fed bones, it takes a lot of work, but worth it. So consume a cup of bone broth or 20 grams of gelatin, beef gelatin, or collagen, hydrolyzed, of course, for every 3 ounces of muscle meat that you consume. Gelatin and broth contain very low amounts of the inflammatory amino acids. All right. Also, consume dairy. Dairy is going to aid in the Ca to pH ratio, calcium to phosphorus ratio, to bring it to at least 1-to-1. Plus, it adds nice, healthy fats. Aim for 50% of total calories coming from easy to digest carbohydrates, fruits and roots, and fruit vegetables to be used as energy so that protein can be best utilized, which means protein intake is going to be like 25 to 30%. And that was the truth about protein from Coach Brett. Now we know where we're at. Comment in here. If you watch this live, give me a hashtag live. If you watch the replay, the recording, give me a hashtag replay. And if you want the PDF that goes along with this training, it's like 6 pages PDF, easy to read, good colors, all that kind of fun stuff. You can either send me a direct message or comment PDF. We're going to be friends on Facebook for me to be able to send it over to you, but I'm happy to if you want to dig in even more than this. If you have more questions beyond just this, let me know. If you need some coaching, if it's time to change around your body, just hit me up. We can start up a conversation. We'll talk. We'll see what's going on. See if I can help you out. That's what it's really all about, is working together here to create a healthier life, healthier lifestyle, and definitely a healthier metabolism. So I'm going to stop this here, and I am going to say to everybody out there, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Whether you're watching it live or you're watching the replay, I'm Coach Brett Riesenhuber, and we talked about protein today, and it's very important training, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have an awesome, awesome day, and let's go for a healthy life. Coach Brett, I'm out.